Hello lads, Joe Redman here from the Burnley YouTube channel and podcast, Turfcast. Just being asked to give my thoughts on Arijanet Muric and obviously the imminent move to Ipswich Town. From a Burnley perspective, I'm sad to see him go, but we've kind of been expecting it for the majority of the season, to be honest with you. He doesn't want to be at the club anymore, and I think it's mainly because of the way he was treated last season by the previous manager. Obviously, Muric was instrumental in our championship winning season. He was, in my opinion, one of, if not the best goalkeeper in the championship. Although, to be fair, it did take a while to get going. Like his first few games, he was, slow. He looked shaky. But as the season went on, he grew in confidence and he grew as a goalkeeper right in front of our eyes, and he became, like I said, an instrumental part to that team. His main strengths for me are his feet. He is probably the best goalkeeper Burnley Football Club has ever had in terms of playing out from the back, and that's why we were so good in the Championship that season. We started at the back, and to say we were so used to dice ball for so many years, it was insane to see us have a goalkeeper who was just as good at passing as some of the midfielders. He was sensational with the ball at his feet. He could ping long balls, he could do quick short balls, he could take advancing attackers on, which he did all of them several times. But when it came to the Premier League, for whatever reason, like I said, the previous manager just decided to drop him out of the blue. Spent a lot of money on another goalkeeper, obviously James Trafford, who probably, in my opinion, wasn't as good as Muric. Probably will be as his career advances, although he's another one I think's leaving, but I think he's probably one for the future, but it's not going to be with us. But anyway, back to Muric, and I feel that's why he wants to leave. He wants to leave because he wasn't given a fair crack of the whip in the Premier League last season, and he obviously believes he's earned that, and to be fair, I agree with that. I think he's a Premier League standard goalkeeper. If we'd have kept hold of him, I'd have expected us to have one of, if not the best goalkeepers in the Championship again, and really kicked on. But like I said, because of him not wanting to be here, a lot of Burnley fans have been resigned to the fact that we are going to lose him. It looks like we will. In terms of weaknesses, he's not... I mean, he's an okay shot stopper. He's a decent shot stopper. He will make some good saves, and he had from when he came in, actually, because Trafford was eventually dropped last year. And when he came in, I think he did actually have the highest save percentage in the Premier League towards the latter end of last season. But he is prone to a mistake, and that's his main weakness. It's his style, though, more than anything. Like, his style is risk and reward. So if you play in a similar style to what we did and encourage that from him, you will probably see some mistakes. He even did it in the Championship. Well, it wasn't just against better opposition last year, because obviously there was the error against Everton and the error against Brighton, both of which were pretty, to be fair, even in terms of quality, you can't really say it's a Premier League mistake because they were both just poor from Muric. But again, it's risk and reward. So we took them mistakes on the chin as fans and as a club, thinking, well, he brings us a lot more by playing that way than what he does with his mistakes. So again, it would depend on how you play, but expect to see a couple of howlers from him. But within the same game, he'll pull off 3 or 4 worldy passes and quite a few decent saves. So again, it's how you... It's what you want from your goalkeeper. If your club wants that style, then that's exactly what you're getting. In terms of character, now this is a little bit that's probably a little bit up for debate, really, because he hasn't actually come back to training this summer. After this summer, he's still out in, I think he lives in Switzerland. That's where he goes back to anyway, quite a lot. But he's not actually come back to training. He was due back a couple of weeks ago, and he's not come back. And now... we've had no issues with him really up until this point, and now it's obviously doing this because he wants to leave. But will he do this again in 2 years if he does very well for Ipswich? Will he then think, well, I want to force a move to, one of the top 6 clubs for whatever, or whatever? Sorry, so I'm just not going to come back to training. So it depends where you sit on the fence with that one. There's a few Burnley fans that are saying, nah, to be fair, he shouldn't come back because he's been treated like rubbish for the last season by company, so fair play on him for sticking to his guns. But in my opinion, I think he should just come back anyway and just turn up for work, because that's essentially what it is. He's turning up for work or not turning up for work. So yeah, I think up until recently, his character's been pretty decent. I mean, I do hear that sometimes within the changing room and the training sessions, it can be quite lazy, but you don't see that on match days, and I don't really have too much issue with that, really, as long as he's training, as long as he's working, and then he does okay in the matches. I'm not too bothered if you're not on the training pitch at 8 a.m. like some of the lads are, for example. You know what I mean? Stuff like that doesn't really bother me. But yeah, him not coming back to training, I won't say it leaves a sour taste, that's a bit dramatic, but it maybe questions his character slightly, in my opinion, because I'm of that mentality. Even if I don't like something or want away from something, I would still go to work personally, even while I was looking for another job. I won't just quit and then, kick up a fuss and force my way out, which I feel like that's what he's doing, and using last season's treatment by a manager that's no longer here, by the way, as an excuse to try and force a move. So yeah, overview, I'm disappointed to see Muric leave. He's a good goalkeeper. He's a Premier League quality goalkeeper. I think, depending on the rumours, because Alan Nixon, first of all, reported around 15 million quid. Then David Ornstein reported 8 rising to 10. And then a BBC Sport Northwest journalist said 10 rising to 15. If it's 10 or 8 rising to 10, you've got a good deal. If it's 15, if it's as the BBC Sport journalist said, 10 rising to around 15, depending on performance-related bonuses, and I think that's probably about fair. If it's 15, I think I doubt it's 15 because it's Nixon, right? But yeah, out of them three, you're going to go with Ornstein, aren't you? So if it is 8 rising to 10, I think you guys have got a good deal, if I'm being honest with you. And we've, once again, sold ourselves a little short, and we did this with Nick Pope a couple of years ago when he went to Newcastle. So it's nothing new for Burnley fans, but yeah, we're making profit on him at the end of the day, and I think it's a move good for all parties. You're getting a good goalkeeper, we're making a decent bit of profit, and Muric is staying in the Premier League. Sad to see him go, and I think he'll do well at Ipswich.